I paid with my endorsed, took the bill, I endorsed it.
Did you give them cash?
We don't have,
We being whom?
I'm saying, it's a credit system, Your Honor.
So what?
Credit system. We don't.
So who's in charge of this credit system?
So who's in charge?
Surely.
I mean, we haven't had money since 1933, the American Banking Act.
We being whom? Who are you talking about when you say we haven't had money? Who is we?
As far as like the United States haven't had money since 19.
Oh, they definitely have, and I spent my share. So I don't know. You're saying you gave them credit.
Yes.
In what form did you give them credit in the month of October 2022?
Then credit, I took the bill, which they give me a bill every month, which is a statement. I take the statement. If you want to, I can show you what I'm doing.
I know what he's referring to. Can I show you?
Yeah.
Well, show him, and then
I got copies for him. Here's what he's getting, Your Honor. We have a third-party billing company called Zigo. And so what they do is every month they bill the utilities. So he gets this bill, and then you'll see at the bottom what he writes is pay to the order of Peninsula Place. And so what he's taken, so for example, the top one says pay to the order of Peninsula Place, $662.12. That amount is his monthly rent plus the $123.12 in utilities that are at the top. There's 3 of these that I've attached. So what he does is he cuts off the bottom and he mails that in as with instructions to pay to the order of Peninsula Place as if that's a check.
have this marked as plaintiff's exhibit and 2. The ledger being 1. But Mr. Lane, you have a copy of what I've marked as plaintiff's exhibit 2. Is what Mr. Fantera described, is that correct? Is that what you do?
Yes, I'm accepting the credits that's given to me, and I'm transferring to that.
Who's giving you this credit? They who?
So Peninsula Place, so in the beginning, when I signed up with Peninsula Place, I gave my principal information. So those payments are supposed to come to me as credit. So
what payments?
The payments that's coming every month. So those payments, they're trying to hold me liable for it, and I'm taking the credits that I'm receiving and dishing it back to them, to Peninsula Place.
Who's giving you credit?
You said who's giving me credit?
Yeah.
I have credit, Your Honor. I have a security interest.
In what?
In this so-called contract with Peninsula Place.
Okay, but who's giving you credit? Young man, you keep using these terms, payment, credit, and it seems to me as I'm listening to you that you're using them improperly. So my question is, have you paid anything to the plaintiff in US dollars or anything that evidences US dollars?
No, I haven't paid in US dollars.
Or anything evidencing US dollars, like a check, credit card, anything like that.
So this is...
No, that's a yes or no.
Can you repeat the question, Your Honor?
Have you, let me just break it apart so we get it real clear. Have you paid for the months of October 2022, November 2022, December 2022, January 2023, or February of 2023? Have you paid to anything to Peninsula Place in US dollars?
No, Your Honor.
Have you paid anything to them that is evidence of an account which holds US dollars?
Yes, Your Honor.
What? And what account is it attached to? You better be careful about answering my question. Because if you're telling me that you gave them or paid them something that evidences an account that can access US dollars, show it to me.
You said that's access to US dollars? Right here.
What is that? What Mr. Fantera just gave?
Yes,
How does that access US dollars?
because Your Honor, this account, I'm the holder and I have the interest.
Then show me the balance on that account.
They show you the balance?
Yep.
Just showed you the balance.
No, you haven't shown me anything. Show me the balance on the account. If you give somebody something that evidences that they can access US dollars, then there is a balance on that account in terms of what you're giving them. Much as if somebody gave a check to them, they would be able to show the account for which they can then present that check and receive US dollars. Show me that account, Mr. Lane.
Like I said, Your Honor, I don't know what else you're asking for. This is the,
No, you know exactly what I'm asking for.
you're asking for something that's coming out.
Something that evidences that by that piece of paper that you've given them, that they can access US dollars.
Okay, I don't have any other account besides this, Your Honor.
You don't have any what?
I said I don't have any other evidence besides this right here.
That does not show me that they can access US dollars.
Okay.
Where would they take that to, in your mind? Where would they take that to access United States dollars?
Put it on the ledger.
Where would they take it to access US dollars?
So, okay. So, Your Honor, so I got a question. As far as landlord and tenant relations, relationships, it's in here.
I'll try to answer your question as soon as you answer mine.
Okay.
Where would they take it to access US dollars?
They would take it and take the check and put it on a ledger with my credit. Because if I owe something, Your Honor, it would be in a negative balance. How can I pay something that's in a positive balance? How can
You don't have a positive balance.
this is
You have given them a piece of paper that you yourself just said is a check. So where would they take that to access your account
so, Your Honor,
and receive US dollars?
they're acting in dishonor. They're taking it and they never said anything about or object to it. So it was off.
Oh, they're objecting now, certainly. Where would they take it, Mr. Lang?
So where would they take it? I mean, as far as they have a security deposit deposition bond. So they have it in a financial institution.
What financial institution
I'm not.
would they take it to get cash from your check, as you call it, that would then be debited from your account? Where would they take it?
Debited. So what about the credits, Your Honor?
I don't see a credit.
On this paper, it says credit payments and credits.
That's not what it means, to the extent it says that. You have no credit. Where would they take it to get US dollars?
So where would they take it? They would take it out of my trust, Your Honor.
Out of your trust.
Yes.
Where is this trust located?
We all have a trust in me.
Okay, let's say we all do. I'm not accepting your premise, but let's say we all do. Where is your trust located?
I'm not sure where it's located, Your Honor, but
So if they wanted US dollars for this thing you purport to be a check, you can't tell them where to take it.
in the Treasury,
Which treasury?
the Treasury,
Oh, so they have to go to the US Treasury with this thing that purports to be a check. Really?
they was pulling from the Treasury. That's why they asked for my information.
Who is pulling from the treasury?
Peninsula Place, Your Honor.
So Peninsula Place is pulling from the US Treasury.
I got the account attached to my name with my social and my information.
So they're pulling from the US Treasury because of that?
Say that again?
So because of that, they're pulling from the US Treasury?
I mean, they're charging the account. So this account has my information tied into it, which is showing that it's already prepaid. So what they're trying to do is Peninsula is trying to make me repay.
You've never paid anything, so they're not trying to make you repay, they're trying to make you pay.
Your Honor, so how did we get here if I never if I provided my information to Peninsula Place?
We got here because you have never provided them anything
Okay.
to pay on this account in US dollars or anything evidencing US dollars. That's how we're here for 5 months. You haven't done that.
Okay. So in the contract, it says payment and then specify what type of payment.
I'm asking you, have you paid them in US dollars?
No, payment credit.
But you have no credit.
Your Honor, this is evident.
Hold on.
Okay.
In order to pay in credit, if you will, you must have something that evidences a balance on that credit. I've already asked you once. Why not? I'll ask you again. Show me something that evidences the credit.
That shows the credit, the birth certificate, and a social security number showing my line of credit that I applied.
So how much is in that line of credit?
You say how much is in the line of credit?
Sure. If you got a line of credit, it's got to have a value. So how much is in it?
I believe everybody has $1 billion.
I didn't ask everybody. I'm asking how much is in your line of credit?
Well, for what Peninsula Place, whatever.
No, I'm asking you. You're saying that your birth certificate and the social security, you have a line of credit. I don't believe that to be the case, but what the heck? Let's ask you, how much is then in your line of credit?
Not sure, Your Honor.
So if you're not sure how much is in there, and you give them this thing that evidences, as you're saying, let's just take this 1 month of $662.12, you don't know if that can be subtracted from that credit you supposedly have.
I'm believing at least $1 billion worth of credit, Your Honor.
Oh, you have $1 billion worth of credit.
We all have credit, Your Honor.
Well, I'm not worried at this point about anybody else's credit. I'm worried about yours. So you're saying you have $1 billion, but you have nothing that shows me that you have $1 billion worth of credit.
Mhm.
Mr. Lane, plaintiff is claiming that you owe them $3,320.17. Tell me every reason why I should not give them a judgment for that amount.
That's going against Michigan Consumer Protection Act.
What particular provision are you claiming of the Michigan Consumer Protection Act?
Enter into a consumer transaction in which the consumer waives or purports to waive right, benefit, or immunity provided by law, unless a waiver is clearly stated and the consumer has specified consent to it. I never gave no consent.
What have they asked you to waive?
He said, "Where they asked me to waive
Mhm.
my rights."
To
as a
what?
consumer.
As a consumer of what?
He said, "A consumer of what?"
Yeah.
Of this contract,
What rights did they ask you to waive?
my interest.
What interest?
I have an interest in this so-called contract.
Oh, you do. You also have certain obligations under that contract.
So I have obligations.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like payment.
Okay. According to, like I say, landlord and tenant relationship, pay the landlord for all the rent arranged under this rental agreement. That's basically what I have the security deposit for.
No, your security deposit is not under Michigan law for that reason.
What is for, Your Honor? That's what it says, security deposit permissible uses.
I mean, there is no security deposit under this lease. The They do not require a security deposit. It's zero.
Okay. Even worse.
which
You don't have a security deposit.
Your security deposit's zero.
And the wealthy that are the real evil and wicked people. The ones that are in the prisons and jails are some that have been possessed by some devils, demons, unclean spirits at the commands of the real evil and wicked ones to try to fool everybody. The evil people are in jails and prisons. They are.
Mr. Watts, you're kind of veering away from the motion that you filed was to allow contact between you and your parents. Do you have any more?
Yes, I do. I've got bank records I've got to get, show my access to cash on hand. I've got phones out there I've got to get a hold of. I got a phone at the Butler County Jail I've got to get a hold of that they seized down at Leon. I need chargers to go with them, but I'm going to have to go through them and pull out different messages that I haven't deleted yet on me purchasing firearms and ammunition.
And that's information you believe your parents will be able to provide you?
They have the access to the phones down there. Also, the county attorney, I've requested paperwork listing all of the firearms and ammunition that was seized. I need to know that because I'm going to question every bit of that at the preliminary hearing. I need full list of everything that was seized of my property. And it is my property.
All right, Ms. Pierce, your response to the request for Mr. Watts to have the no contact order lifted with his parents?
Judge, quite honestly, I thought that had been lifted months ago. There was a time that he was in the hospital that we actually did a order lifting that. That was a few months ago. Also, my contact with the county jail around that time, as I recall, was that no contact order was lifted. If the jail is still operating under a assumption that it is still in place and they need some kind of written order to the same that it is not, I will be more than happy to do that. I have no problem with him having any contact with his parents. Again, I would request that all of their statements are recorded, so I don't have an issue with that. So, again, I thought that was been lifted. That issue had been addressed a long time ago.
Okay. Do you recall when that may have occurred?
Well, when he went to the hospital required a order, and that was way back.
Well, Ms. Pierce, if you're not objecting to it, then I don't think it matters at this point.
I guess my question is to the jail, and maybe I don't know if the person that's there with Mr. Watts can answer that question or not, whether or not they are still operating under the thought that there was a no contact order. But again, I don't know why they would be, because I've spoken to Mr. Reynolds about it, so I don't know if that's I don't know if Mr. Watts has attempted to make some kind of contact with his parents and he's being told he can't. I don't know if, I don't know exactly what the circumstances are that the reason that Mr. Watts continues to believe that there's no contact order in place.
All right. Well,
I don't believe the phone's going through. I don't believe the phone allows them to answer. It needs to be checked on. But I need to make sure I have access to money for different.
well, the court will lift the no contact order. If the order hasn't been lifted previously, that will allow you to have contact with your parents. If you need to communicate with them by mail, if you're not able to get in touch with them by phone, you're certainly allowed to do that, Mr. Watts.
Okay.
All right, pause right here. This is actually a key procedural moment. The judge isn't denying anything. He's clarifying confusion. In legal terms, this is about enforcement, not rights. If no one is objecting, the court simply formalizes what should already be happening. Simple, but powerful.
Is there any way we can have the phone checked to make sure it would connect if they will answer it?
Well, that's not something that's something the court does.
You can't order Reynolds to check the phone and make sure it'll connect.
No.
I've got to talk to them about access to those other phones out there, cell phones. And then the jail's got one, but I need to have access to them and chargers so I can go through the text messages and possible phone numbers on those too.
Okay. Well, the no contact order is lifted, so you can communicate with your parents. So, Ms. Pierce, would you be able to produce just a brief order? So we've got some. I didn't see anything that was part of the court file, just so that's part of the court record.
I will do so, Judge.
Okay, now we've already got the preliminary hearing. We've already set that. That's going to be October the 1st at 9 o'clock. That's an in-person hearing here at the.
There's no way Your Honor, there's no way I'll have my evidence by that time.
Okay, well, we've got it set, so if you're going to be seeking a continuance, you can raise that at the appropriate time. But for now, this case has been pending for a long time. We need to get it moving. We've had this date, the preliminary hearing date, set since August the 12th. So, all right, I believe that addresses the two issues the court wanted to take up today. Ms. Pierce, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
There's other filings that are in there. One is to reschedule the October 1st date and a motion, and then also, the list of the firearms and ammunition that I'll be addressing in court that they say were their property. I need those lists provided to me, and I need to have that polygraph too taken. I don't know why we haven't got situated on that.
Well, Mr. Watts, if you want to pay to have a polygraph done, you can do that. It may not even be admissible. You'd have to file a motion to.
I can still have it, use it in other court proceedings.
Well, if you want to do that, that's got to be at your own expense. The court doesn't provide funds for you to do that.
Yeah, but I don't have access to getting in touch with anybody to get that done.
Okay, well, I don't have any other motions that have been filed recently, Mr. Watts. Have you received anything, Ms. Pierce? The last one I have is the motion to end the no contact order, which was filed August 23. I haven't seen any other motions that have been filed since then.
Judge, according to what I have in my file, on September the 3rd, there was a motion that this is filed by Mr. Watts, the defendant, motion that I be given list of all my firearms and my ammunition seized from me. And then there's also another one that is, and that was done on September the 3rd at 11:47 a.m. And then there was another one that was filed September 3rd at 11:47 a.m. Motion to reschedule the October 1st date of the preliminary hearing so I can get all my evidence collected. And then, of course, the motion to end the no contact order, which was filed on August the 23rd. I think those are the ones that I have that are the most recent filings, Judge.
All right, Angela, can you try to pull those up, please?
I've got them for you.
All right, I'm going to take a brief recess and I'm going to look these over. I'd rather just take them up now.
Judge, I
Address
just,
those.
Yeah. Judge, I want to clarify with the court that Mr. Reynolds, who's watching this, indicated that the no contact order was lifted, that Mr. Watts and his parents have been speaking periodically on the phone. Mr. Reynolds checked the phones, and the phone is not blocked, was unblocked months ago. So Mr. J.B. Watts, defendant, has had access to his parents' phone for months.
I told
So
the cell phone,
I will be more than happy to do an order lifting that no contact order as of today, but it looks like it's already been done prior.
Okay. Right, I'm gonna.
I have not had unlimited access. There's been one or two times I talked on the cell phone just a little bit, and I was supposed to talk again, and it didn't go through.
All right, well, I'm gonna take a brief recess and review these other pending motions.
Hey, can you hear me, James?
Yes.
What,
Now, hang on. Keep in mind, everything that's said here right now is open to the internet and the public and everything else. This is not
yeah,
private.
I was just wanting to know.
James, Mr. Watt, James, did you hear me? This is not private. Okay, you understand that?
I just want to know about what has been set up on the polygraph test.
The polygraph examiner that most people use around here is an Augusta. I mean, I've had a chance to talk to Augusta. I frankly have no idea what he costs.
Well, I have money that's been on there. I haven't been using much money that has
I
been
will
on
tell
my
you,
account. So there's plenty of
James.
money out there.
James,
What's that?
James, polygraphs, and we touched on this before. Polygraphs are not generally admissible in court.
I can use them in other ways for filings and stuff like that to get them on the record. As in paperwork for filings and this and that. If I can't get it introduced in court, I'm questionable why it can't be introduced in when I've got people lying against me.
Because polygraphs are not reliable. They are not.
How come law enforcement uses them at times to establish whether there's probable cause or not?
All right, we'll go back on the record. Same appearances as before. I now have before me a motion that I be given lists of all my firearms and ammunition seized from me, and a motion to reschedule the October 1 date of preliminary hearing. I want to address the motion regarding the firearm list at this time. Mr. Watts, I'll give you an opportunity to argue your motion. Go ahead.
Well, since I'm going to be, my parents are saying that evidently I took my own firearms and ammunition, I want to be able to question them on that and have know absolutely all the ammunition, everything that was in there by the brands, types and brands and stuff, and a list of all the firearms and everything. I should be entitled to that under discovery. I never was provided it.
Response, Ms. Pierce?
Judge, typically that all that information is part of the KSO, KRO. I imagine that it is summarized or it is a part of that as well. I don't know whether he got full copies of discovery or not. I'm not familiar with exactly what it is that.
This right here is gold. The judge just broke down why polygraphs don't hold weight in court. They're investigative tools, not truth machines. So even if you pass one, it doesn't mean the court has to care. That's a huge misconception people have.
Defense counsel provides to a an individual who is representing themselves. So I don't know that he did or he didn't get copies of all of that, but that information should be a part of that arrest document. But then again, at the same time, I do not have a problem whatsoever providing him with a list.
All right. Yeah, typically I would assume that seized property is included in the list that's usually provided in discovery. So it sounds like a list does exist. I don't know what you've been provided, Mr. Watts.
I have not been provided that. It's been absent. Everything that was seized from anywhere, I have no record of anything. I know other stuff was seized, phones and different things, probably a computer at the house down there and different things. I don't have a list of anything that was seized.